probably really dive into some of the situations. And maybe by the end of this podcast, you will understand some.
Hopefully.
And I mean, Jesus Christ. It's just, the questions just getting on me. How dare you disrespect the military? I mean, can't you do it another way? Why don't you just shut up and play football? Now, the national anthem itself. And I mean, I'm about to go into a lot of details. If I'm talking too much, Josh, cut me off. Feel free to jump in. But I just really, I want to break this down. I almost want to cut down the music for this because a lot of people don't know this information about the national anthem.
Okay.
Let's cut the music down.
Okay. Okay.
The national anthem, written by Francis Scott Key, about the Battle of Fort McHenry. Now, first off, when it comes to the national anthem, we only sing the first verse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's nugget number one.
Okay.
That a lot of people don't even know about. It's the third verse that no one ever mentions. You don't hear this in school. Mm-hmm. You don't hear this during the argument of why Kaepernick is sitting out doing the national anthem. Maybe he knew this and haven't even said it yet. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say it this time. The verse. Here it is. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. Translation. I'm celebrating the death of the African American slaves.
Oh, wow. I had never heard that before ever in my life.
No. And I mean, let me continue with the breakdown of this. Shall I? Now, some of you may be like, who the Francis Scott? Like,
yeah, who was that?
Who's this guy?
That was a long time ago.
Guess what? He was a slave owner.
Yeah.
A slave owner.
I can see that.
So obviously you can understand where he's coming from once he's writing this, but let me continue to break down. I'm going to need both my hands for this.
Okay.
There was a war that was started in 1812. It was an attempt by the U.S. to grab Canada back from the British Empire. In 1814, the British had gained success over the U.S. military by a strong recruitment of African American slaves.
Well, that'll work.
And they was offered them, of course, freedom.
Yes.
Free. Who wouldn't take advantage of it? Free. Land of the free.
Yeah.
Home of the brave.
Yeah.
And I continue. So one of the
air. Yeah. Give you some air if you help us.
Yeah, you know. I mean, it's just now one of the victories for the British was setting the White House on fire back in It was the night of September 13th. 1814. Now, Key, of course, wrote the Star Spangled Banner the next day after he saw the flag. But I want you to think about that. Free, as you just so mentioned, Josh. Think about that one line. The land of the free, the home of the brave. Which, in fact, there were people fighting for their freedom. It was very brave in 1812. But they was killed by the country that wanted no part of them. Mm-hmm. But it's the land of the free.
For them, yes.
And home of the brave. Also in 1814, the government demanded the return of American quote-unquote property.
Property, yes.
Which was around about 6,000 people, but the British refused to do that, even though they signed a peace treaty with the U.S. Now, to continue on with Key, he later on became a district attorney in Washington, D.C. One night, it was some cops tried to attack another African-American lady. Mm-hmm. She then fled, wound up falling off a bridge and drowned.
Wow.
A paper wrote about the story and was talking about the injustice of the community. Mm-hmm. Key got so upset that he indicted the newspaper.
Wow.
This is the same person
that wrote
that wrote the national anthem. So, with that being said, You have a national anthem that an African American is deciding to sit down on.
Yeah.
That was written about the deaths of African American slaves.
Mm-hmm.
But you are upset because he decided not to salute that? It's not the flag.
No, exactly. And they make, like you said, it's not about the military. Like, I just don't understand. Like, how are you making that connection? Yes, they fight for our freedoms and all of that, and that's great. But again, like you said, that national anthem isn't about the military.
It's not.
Like you said,
It has nothing to do with the military. It has to do with the victory in the war, which I don't even think there was even a victory.
Nah, they just kind of...
But there is verses in there that speaks about the deaths of African Americans. Not to mention, man, I was doing homework on the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution.
Okay.
You know there were lines in the Constitution that aided with slavery?
Like
the original Constitution.
Yeah, we wasn't really a 1/4 of a man or something like that.
Well, yeah, they didn't count us as
a whole person.
A whole person. We were counted as property.
Yeah.
This was in the Constitution.
Yeah.
You guys don't believe me? Look it up.
Oh, yeah.
Know your history. Know your history. They don't teach you this in history.
No,
because I didn't know.
Part. Yeah, they don't teach you that part.
There was also another part in the Constitution that pretty much stated if someone were to capture a slave, a runaway slave, they could return them back to their rightful owner because they were considered a fugitive.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to be returned from pretty much where you came from.
Like you said, property.
Property. We were considered property during the Constitution. And I mean, like, a lot of black people haven't forgotten this, guys.
No.
And then when you go to the south side of Chicago, and I've seen this with my own eyes. This is not nothing I'm seeing on CNN. This is not something my buddy told me over some coffee. Mm-hmm. This is what I saw. That in the south side of Chicago, it's highly segregated.
Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah.
People always be like, are you a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan? I hate the White Sox.
What? You hate them?
The White Sox were generally the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
Constantly were we turned away from the games.
Oh, wow.
Constantly were we harassed at the games.
Wow. No.
This is personal experience.
Yeah.
This is no fabricated story that you're reading online.
Yeah.
This is what I done went through. And this is what a lot of black people went through, and man, they fucking pissed, man.
I get you. And people would be like, oh, why you keep bringing up old stuff or whatever?
Because it keep happening.
Exactly. Like, no, they don't lynch us in the streets anymore. No, we're not hanged and we're not slaves.
I'm so
but
I hate that comparison.
Yeah, like I hate, like, why do you...
Things are better now. But things are so much better now. You have a black president.
Tell Trayvon Martin things are better now.
You have a black... you have black owners and black millionaires and billionaires.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah. What are you so upset about?
There's no lynchings in the street anymore.
Yeah, you know, the Klan is not killing you anymore, even though the Klan is continuing to kill people and burn down churches.
Yeah,
Dylan Roof.
Exactly.
Have we forgot about that?
Nah, he should be in death row in a couple years here, bro.
Did we not forget about here in the state we live in, just now took down the Confederate flag?
Yeah. Well, last year, was it last year?
The same flag that was used to harass and petrify millions of African Americans.
And they're like, oh, it's not that. It's just Southern pride. Well, if I hang a Nazi flag because my great-great-grandmother was from Germany, are you going to be angry with me? If I just be like, nah, that's just my heritage. You know, it's a Nazi flag, but it's not really that flag that you're thinking about. It's about, you know, just heritage, German heritage.
Yeah, and before one of you guys come to the conclusions that we're just two angry, racist black guys, it's not the case.
No.
Kidding me fall from the tree.
I got a lot of white friends.
Kidding me fall.
You do too.
My family is white.
Exactly.
I don't even consider them my friends. That's my mother, my 2 brothers.
Oh yeah,
and sister.
Like I said, I don't think all white people are evil. It's just some of them are just.
Your daughter is half white.
Exactly. Yeah. Half white.
We're the wrong people to even try to judge. I reiterate, the point of this podcast is for you to realize what some of us are thinking.
I just want to give you the message. The real message. That's
the
all.
Real message.
That's all. Stop thinking about the military. Stop thinking about Black Lives Matter equals cops or pigs. It's none of that. It's not any of that. It's just we want to be treated equally, and we want to be treated
wouldn't
the same.
be pushing the issue if that was the case.
But obviously, it's not.
If that was the case, do you really think there would be thousands of black people marching over another dead black people? And I know your rebuttal. I know the rebuttal. Well, what do you guys do over there in Chicago?
Exactly.
So many killings on other killings.
Black Lives Matter don't matter to black people.
Yep, never matters in your own neighborhood. Well, let me tell you what the fuck is going on in Chicago.
Let them hear it.
There are no police in the south side of Chicago. At all.
Yeah.
Because they literally moved them away. Back in 91, in Cabrini Green, one of the most dangerous apartment complexes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch The Wire, during that episode in Baltimore, there was an apartment complex that the chief of police decided to call it a drug-free zone.
Okay.
All of the drug dealers could come there and pretty much sell drugs with immunity.
Okay.
That was Cabrini Green, but in real life.
Wow.
No cops came through there. Then it got to a matter of time. Cops stopped completely going to the south side of Chicago.
Turned into a building to an area, pretty much.
Yeah, there's no... And I mean, I want you to get into the mind of a 14-year-old living in that type of environment.
No hope.
You wake up, the mayor of your city has already shut down 20 schools. There are absolutely no type of revenue running through the south side of Chicago. There's already been closed down all kind of businesses. Yes, you are flooded with gangs now because that's where they're populated at. That's pretty much where they're moved to. That's the only area in Chicago they can afford. Mm-hmm. If you keep them in that bubble with all that anger built up around them, what do you think is going to happen? Exactly. A bunch of damn cookouts? No, people are going to die.
They need help. And yes, we got to do better. Of course, we know that.
Absolutely.
But they need help.
And they're not getting it.
How long has this been going on in Chicago? Since what, the 70s, 80s?
Man, since forever.
They can't fix 30 something years of just terror in a week. They need some help, and nobody want to give them no help.
No.
Well, you do better. Raise your kids right.
You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of these mass murderers that roll around and go to jail. I hear a lot of people like, well, he was just screaming out for help. He was such a troubled young man.
It's true.
What the hell you think is going on in Chicago? They're screaming out for help.
Yep.
But ain't nobody there to help.
Ain't nobody coming.
You want to blame that on the black communities? So be it. But they don't have the resources to fix the problems. And they're not getting the resources to fix the problem. So if you're not given the resources to fix the problem, what you think is going to happen? Chaos.
That's what it is.
It's chaos. That's all it is. Chirac. And I mentioned the story before that used to walk outside and there'd be a crate full of guns just laying on the streets. Yeah. Where the hell did that come from? Didn't come from Toys R Us.
No, hell no.
Came from somewhere. sick of this crap, man.
It is.
And